All right, guys, it's the rise of AI slop in modern games. All right.
90% of game developers just admitted to using AI to do their work, which means
Damn.
just 10% are still
90%.
actually doing their jobs. A new industry survey of 615 developers just dropped, and it wanted
That 10% are probably much smaller game developers as well, which seem to be kind of more having more fun games, right? You see a lot of smaller game developers, a smaller team, being a little better at putting out a game that players enjoy.
to know how many game developers had given up on actually developing
Or I should say a better hit to miss ratio, right?
games, and it turns out it's almost all of them. So if you've been wondering why modern games feel increasingly soulless, generic, or just shit, well, you're about to find out why.
Shite.
So this all comes from a Google Cloud survey published this
Okay.
week called How Developers Are Using Generative AI to Create a New Generation of Games, where they surveyed over 600 game devs on their use of generative AI in video games. And honestly, the results shocked me. 47% admit need
See AI reshaping the industry. Says reducing repetitive tasks and workflow. Says it drives innovation. So I think this was inevitable. As we see like the gaming industry, I was thinking about making an individual video, right? On this. But it's like as you see gaming, and it's been like this for the past 15 years, getting more popular, it becomes less of a passion project and it becomes more of like just straight up cash flow, right? Like a fast food chain or something. It becomes a McDonald's, man. How fast can we sell people absolute shit? You know what I mean? And now you see like AI becoming more prevalent in all of them. It's only going to help feed that chain, you know, of how fast can we get this done? How fast can we go from idea to cash? You know what I mean?
AI for play.
And like as you see, passion has completely been sucked out of like almost every game.
Testing. They can't
Almost
even
every.
test their own games anymore, which explains why half the releases these days are broken, buggy messes that need 6 months of patches. 44% of them need AI for basic coding and scripting. Coding, the
Damn.
fundamental skill of game development. If you're a game developer who can't code, you're in the wrong industry, mate. But this one cut deep. 36% use AI for dialogue writing for video games.
Damn, they can't even fucking write? I'm not gonna lie, like when I was in like English class and everything, there you go. English class, I was not very good at writing shit, dude. And so therefore, because I was bad at it, I didn't go into like a career of writing where I would need AI to do it.
Where story and quality writing.
Imagine that, right? If they would hire some actual real writers that have like they're just good at it, you probably wouldn't need AI. Makes you wonder. Well, I guess they just don't want to pay writers anyways.
Used to be king. It's like a chef saying they need a robot to fry a steak for them. If you can't do it yourself, then why cosplay as a game dev?
Oh my god. Wait, hold on. You guys know who that was?
Steak for them. If you can't do it yourself, then why cosplay as a game?
That's the first, second generation Blizzard dev or Blizzard, whatever he calls himself.
Game dev. But it all becomes very clear when you see the bigger picture. 94% are expecting cost savings. This isn't about making better games. This is about making cheaper.
There's that cheap processed burger from McDonald's, right? It's gonna really start looking like it, man. How fast can we get this shit from the idea of it to the cash of it? You know, and just throw slop.
Shittier experiences and pocketing bigger profits. And if you think it couldn't get any worse, only 35% of the developers surveyed worry about player data privacy, which means 65% of them don't give a shit what happens to your data.
Just money.
Now look, AI is here whether we like it or not, and there's definitely some positive cases for it.
Is this a Sims game? What is this?
When it directly impacts the quality of
they got no one at their wedding.
Replaces humans and just leads to absolute dog shit experiences just to save money, it's a problem, and we're absolutely drowning in the results. Over 7,000 games on Steam now admit to using generative AI. That's 7% of all the games on sale.
Wait, 1 in 5 Steam games released in 2025 use generative AI, up nearly 700% year on year.
That's almost
Damn.
an 800% increase.
Well, it's gotten a lot
in just
better, so
one
I'm not
year.
surprised.
1 in 5 new games released this year are using AI in some form. We've gone from a trickle to a flood of algorithmic slop, and they're all at it. Blizzard, one of the
What was he
biggest
like?
game companies in the world, used generative AI to make a promotional image for its Diablo Immortal and Hearthstone crossover. The whole 9 yards of AI slop. Blizzard, the company behind Warcraft and Diablo, can't find an actual human to make a promo for them. Bit embarrassing, really.
Damn.
Even Call of Duty's at it now. Black Ops 6 admits on its store page.
I feel like it was inevitable for AI to kind of work its way into these cutscenes, but it's like they're almost like using it too early because AI is really not in a place where you can kind of have a nice, fully clean. Like you saw the one thing where it's like the necklace is melting into their skin. I don't think AI is quite on that level. Like eventually it's going to be used either way, but it's not quite on that quality level yet.
They use AI for in-game assets. Loading screens with characters that have 6 fingers. That's primary school level mistakes for
Yeah,
a
it's just
billion
not
dollar
there.
franchise. Then
It'll
there's
get
games
there.
like Inzoi, the Sims competitor
Which
that
sucks, but
marketed
it
itself
sucks
on
for
heavy
artists
AI
and
use.
everything.
Sold 1 million copies, then lost 98% of its players in 3 months. Turns out when your game is designed by algorithms, it feels like it. Lifeless, repetitive, soulless. A glorified tech demo masquerading as a game. But it gets worse. The Front Mission 3 remake used AI to upscale all of its classic 2D art. The result was a 2025 game that looks worse than the 1999 original. They had hand-drawn mecha art from 1999 and they fed it through an AI that somehow made it look like cheap, soulless rubbish. A 26-year
before and
leap
after?
backwards. We're not just talking about isolated incidents here. We're talking about an industry-wide collapse in basic competence. And we've got even more receipts, so buckle up. But here's where it gets dark because Microsoft laid off thousands of employees in January 2024, including artists and designers. A few months later, they started selling AI-generated Call of Duty skins. The pattern couldn't be clearer. Because this isn't just about jobs disappearing, it's about what happens when you replace human creativity with mediocrity. Games are supposed to be art, entertainment, experiences that connect with people. When you
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is that supposed to be art? And it's gotta like come from a passion, a place of like passion for the game, right? To make like a good, artistic game. So it's like when it's just there to make money, you can kick that idea, off the tracks.
strip out the human element, you get exactly what we're seeing now. Soulless, generic dog shit that we can smell from a mile away. Because when your development pipeline is built around...
Dude, Call of Duty had one trailer. They had like a post-zombie scene for one of their maps. And there was no talking because they didn't want to pay the voice actors. And oh my god, it was such a bad cutscene because it was just like the Samantha robot talking the whole time. It literally felt like one of those like pre-roller coaster ride videos. Where it's just like a robot talking. On this ride, it's going to have flips, turns, you know what I mean? Like that. I was like, oh god, this is bad.
Good enough and cost savings, this is what you get. Games that feel like they were thrown together in a few hours because they were. And the examples are absolutely everywhere. March 2024, EA's CEO Andrew Wilson announces that AI will boost productivity. The same year, EA cuts 5% of their workforce. Take-Two CEO called AI just a digital tool and said it won't reduce their employment. A year later, they lay off 600
Oh
people.
shit.
2023, Ubisoft proudly
Turns out when you have a better tool, you need less workers. Wow.
their ghostwriter AI tool to help generate NPC dialogue. They said it would free writers for core narrative work. And surprise, surprise, a year later, they laid off 70.
Yeah. Don't worry, guys. We're using the AI for voice. What did he say? For voices?
Their ghostwriter AI tool to help generate NPC dialogue.
Oh, NPC dialogue. And then fired a bunch of writers as diabolical.
And surprise, surprise, a year later,
So we basically we want to test it with NPC dialogue, and then we're going to use it for the rest of the game once it turns, depending on how good it is.
they laid off 17.
Damn, that's rough, man. Yeah, that's rough. Imagine you working at a job and they're like, hey, we know you write all the main lines for the main characters. We're just going to use AI for NPC dialogue. You got to know right then that the ball is rolling, That's rough, man. Like, yeah, it's coming. It's coming to take your job. That's rough.
Just this week, Nexon got caught.
But then wonders, it's like, if I know AI is good, but it's like, from like a management standpoint, if you're like looking at, if you have writers that are writing absolute shit and slop, and it's like, okay, the AI is literally writing better stories than my own like paid human writers. That's like also like it's like, were the writers that bad that you got replaced by an AI? Right? Because I can't imagine me. Okay, AI is good enough. Yeah, maybe it's half as good as the actual writer is, but just fire the writer. We'll use the AI for it, right? But it sounds like the quality of your game goes down. Are they making that decision? Because then that's like from a business, like a bad business model, right? Hey, let's fire the employees, put in some like AI that might be half as good, half the quality, right? And then money, 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 delicioso. You know what I mean?
using AI generated.
That is then on the publisher and the overall what do you want to call it, management there, right? They're making poor decisions, putting profit before quality, which we see a lot in gaming.
Fake influencers to promote the first Descendants new season. Dead-eyed digital clones of actual people that look like something from a horror film, because apparently hiring real content creators, real people, is just too expensive now. The pattern is crystal clear. Innovation always means...
Yep. You see this a lot in business, no matter where the business is, you'll see it. There's good examples and there's bad examples where it's cut corners to save costs, but your quality goes down, right? It's like for the longest time, I know Walmart is trying to turn their, like, we'll just use Walmart for an example, right? They're trying to turn their image around as being a more customer first experience, right? But it's like you walk into Walmart, it's like you're gonna get fucked around, you're gonna have to wait, right? So it's like they put money before customer service. And then there's other places that put customer service before the money. And then you see customers coming back, right? They choose that location because of the good customer service and the experience that they have. And the money follows them. I think right now in gaming industry, we see a lot of putting money first and putting the players and the quality of the game all the way in the back.
Cost cutting. When they promise enhanced creativity, they deliver soulless rubbish. They claim it's about empowering people while firing the actual people. But here's the thing they can't seem to see. Games made with passion, with quality,
there you go,
with actual human craft, they'll always be king. Cuphead sold millions and became a cultural icon precisely because of its authentic 1930s hand-drawn animation. You can't replicate that soul with an algorithm. Hades picked up every award going because Supergiant spent years perfecting every line of dialogue, every character interaction, every piece of art. That's human creativity at its...
It's like, who knew that the most human dialogue would be written by a human and not an AI?
peak. Baldur's Gate 3 became the biggest RPG in years because Larian finished the game before releasing it, wrote thousands of lines of branching dialogue, and created characters that people actually cared about. Pizza Tower, a one-man indie project, outshone most AAA releases because it had more personality in its animations alone than entire AI-generated games have in their entire playtime. These games succeed because they're made by humans for humans. They have soul, they have vision, they have something to say beyond just we saved money on development costs. Look, AI has its uses. Optimization, debugging, maybe some procedural terrain generation, fine. But when 90% of developers are outsourcing their thing...
Yeah, when you... I can understand using it for like terrain and everything like that. Right. And then, you know, you have someone that comes in and adjusts the terrain for like a path or some kind of stuff like that, right? Quality, right? In like where the player mainly going to be, or just little tweaks here and there. But when you're using it for like the actual like interactions in a video game, I think is where you're going to see it really starting to become a problem for players and everything like that, right? The dialogue being written by AI, the voice acting being done by AI. It's like, I don't see those having that human feel. Maybe eventually the AI will get down the road to, you know, have that. It'll be almost unrecognizable, right? But it's like, you're not going to have that human dialogue, that human feels the game with the current AI.
to ChatGPT, what do you expect? This isn't about innovation, it's just about executives who see AI as a magic cost-cutting machine. They're treating creative work like it's a spreadsheet problem that needs fixing. When they're using AI to write dialogue, storylines, and all of the things that make a game special, what's the point anymore? Games are supposed to be art. They're supposed to connect with people, tell stories, create experiences that we remember. Strip out the human element and you get exactly what we're seeing. And we're the only ones who suffer. Worse dialogue that feels like it was written by a committee of robots. Generic art that looks like every other AI-generated image you've ever seen.
Some
Buggy
clanker
releases that
talk,
weren't
huh?
properly tested because the AI missed what a human QA would have caught in 5 minutes. The efficiency is a lie. The innovation is a lie. What we're
Well, it's also talking about like AI was being like the quality control too for like gameplay and stuff. If you have the AI write something and then quality control that, the AI is not going to notice shit. It's not going to notice it because it was the same one who made it. So it's like, how are you expecting the AI who made something to now catch the flaw in the quality control? You know what I mean?
really seeing is an industry that's forgotten what made games worth playing in the first place. And that's exactly why we're in this mess. And yet Google's calling this the future of the gaming industry. I'm calling it evidence
of
that
course
the love
Google will.
for the craft has simply gone. Because when it's a choice between quality and a few million quid, the money always wins. The 10% that are still doing
It's not gonna always win, because really it's like, who has the money? In reality, where do they get their money from? Players, right? And if players stop choosing that game because it's got a bunch of AI slop in it and everything in it is written and created by AI and it's just shitty, then it's like they're gonna have to make a business model change.
their actual jobs, they're making the games worth playing. The Larians, the Supergiants, the one-person indie teams pouring their soul into every pixel. Support them, buy their games. Stop buying this.
One thing that's good about, like, you see a lot of times streamers and everything, is that they do bring some of these smaller games like Schedule One to light, right? It's like, people can hate on streamers and everything, but it's like, if they didn't, like, would Among Us have ever been popular, really? Would a lot of these other games that you see kind of pop up for a little while and everyone plays them, would they have gained that popularity, right? I don't know.
Algorithmic shit, and it will stop existing. It's that simple. Because here's what we've lost sight of. Games used to be made by people who loved making games. Now they're made by spreadsheets that love making money. And until that changes, we'll keep drowning in soulless mediocrity while the few remaining humans remind us what gaming used to be about. Anyways, if this made you...
I think as you see more of these smaller games become popular, right? Like the smaller dev teams making things like Schedule One. Some of the games are slipping my mind, right? You're going to kind of see a shift, right? When the game made by one person is outselling the multi-million-dollar business that's poured all their money into these games, you're going to kind of see a shift. And hopefully they themselves will realize, oh, hey, why did they sell so well for a one-person game? You know, why did this dev team of 5 people, you know, have a better profit margin than this multi-million-dollar game? You know what I mean? I don't know. Just my thoughts on it. I'll see y'all at the next station.